I have some great news for sellers and buyers. Let's jump into what's happening in January of this year. Kicking it off, first of all, what about the rate of decline for values? Look at this map, and you're probably thinking, what the heck does this mean? Well, if you look at the lighter blue color, this shows us in those areas we're having a slower rate of price declines overall of depreciation. So you can see on the west side, you're in a better position. And this makes sense because the luxury market is doing pretty well right now. And this is great news because that is an indication of where we're going as we start to improve in our market overall. If you look on the east side, you see this is a dark blue. These areas will likely take a lot longer to recover and start to see appreciation than compared to the west side, which you're naturally going to have more demand on. We did go over this last month. Take a pause. I really feel this is important because it just continues to tell us that we're likely going to be in a buyer's market through 2026 and through 2027. Depends, of course, on which market you're in, luxury or non-luxury, and it depends on where in the Austin market you'll be. So if you're in parts of Leander, like the north part that is just with abundance of new builds, you're going to be in a buyer's market much longer than you would if, again, you're on the west side of downtown Austin. Let's go into this summary. First of all, it's still taking about 90 days or 3 months to go under contract. So there's a 15% chance that you'll actually go under contract as a seller. That's it, 15% chance overall. So of the 15% people who do go under contract, it's taking them 90 days. Everyone else, it's longer, right? Your new listings are at 7.7% decline year over year. That's kind of a great thing because you're not having as much new competition as we did last year. So again, that's a positive for sellers. Your closed price to list price, original list price ratio, you're at 91%. So if a seller wanted $500,000, did they get it? No, they got 91% of that. The median list price is $425,000. Median close price is $400,000. The active listings were about 10,923. That's a lot. It's actually 55% more than pre-pandemic. So yes, we still have a lot of competition as a seller, and for a buyer, you have a lot of homes to choose from. In fact, more than you'll have really probably any other time in history to select from. So if you're really picky, this is the time to choose what you want. We have about 6.6%, 6.6 months of inventory. So again, this is a buyer's market. All right, number of homes sold in the resale world. Take a pause. Look at this. This is really neat to see if you're going to sell or buy. What's the likelihood of selling, right, in your price point? You see all the way up to 3 million to 5 million, only 10 homes sold. That's it. Everybody else stayed on the market. And anybody under a million, well, you have a lot more homes sold. Sellers. Okay. January, this is really cool. January sales, the sales are very typical right now. So when we looked at the amount of buyers who bought, it's the exact same number as pre-pandemic. That's fantastic news. So we don't have a shortage of buyers. We didn't have fewer buyers. We just had a lot more inventory. So buyer activity is just on pace. Demand is normal for January. Here's another really great news. Mortgage application activity was 60% higher compared to this time last year. Isn't that neat? That means we have more buyers coming to the market, or more interested buyers that are starting their process. So we'll see what happens for spring and summer. We also have 91% list to close price ratio. Again, that just means as a seller, you're not going to sell, or your likelihood of you're not going to sell at the actual asking price in which you start your starting price going on the market. You're going to sell for less. That's what the data is telling us. Expect elevated inventory in 2026. The interest rates, that has reduced to 5.8 to 6%. If you connected with me just a few months ago, we were really around that like 6.6, 6.8. So we absolutely have seen a decline. Probably why we've had more buyers come to the market with more mortgage application. People are seeing that these prices are a little bit more affordable, at least with your mortgage rate and your monthly payment. 90 days to obtain a contract. The luxury market is hot, hot, hot. We have 2% more sales than what we would have in a normal market. So, although, of course, there's more inventory for luxury, we're seeing more luxury buyers than ever before. That said, even though we've had an increase in number of sales and percentage wise, we do see a decline of value. So, yes, that trend of decline has continued. It's just not as great as it was last year or the year before. So, we're almost at the point where we're at the bottom of that curve and looking to go upward. The non luxury market is very competitive, and we continue and should continue to expect that through the next few years. As a buyer, more buyers, of course, are coming back to the market. We do have steady inventory and mortgage applications. We already spoke about that. So, again, more competition against buyers. Homes are going to go faster. In fact, I just had a multiple offer situation where there was 3 offers in 4 property. You kidding? Are you kidding? We're back to that again? Well, some of the homes are multiple offers when they're attractive and fair with the price. Buyers are feeling that we are near the dip. So, what do I mean by that? I have had more phone calls in just the last month of buyers looking to enter the market than I had in 6 months of last year. It's remarkable. People keep saying they have a feeling they're at the low. We're feeling that we're kind of at the end of this cycle. And that makes sense because we've had this cycle started in 2022 of August. It's been quite a few years now. I don't have a crystal ball, but we're getting somewhere. Well, of course, we're investor friendly. Homes priced competitively go quickly. Don't buy unless you plan to own your property for 3+ years. That will still continue for the next at least 2 to 3 years. Definitely don't sell below or anytime earlier or sooner than 3 years. And sellers are still willing to negotiate. So if you have questions, anything about the market, your past client or a future client, we're here for you. All right, see you next month.